Hey guys, it's Katie from scrappinkaty.ctmh.com, and today is day 5 of Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, where we will be taking every day of March and doing a layout with a different sketch. So here is a look at the sketch. It is a sketch from Page Maps, which I just love Page Map sketches. And I have pulled out some photos of my MeMe, is what we called her. Today, March 5th, is her birthday, or would have been her birthday. And so I definitely wanted to document her love of gardening, and then I have a picture of her house that I'm going to be using. Now, what I'm showing you here is that these two photos she wrote on the back of, so that's her handwriting. So I just scanned them and then printed those off, and that way I can use her actual handwriting on my layouts. I love doing that with these old photos. It just kind of also gives you a piece of them on the photo or on the layout. So here are some of the papers that I'm going to be using. It's from an old collection from close to my heart, and I am just looking at that sketch and trying to kind of guess at the measurements. I know I could probably go find the page map sketch, and then those measurements would be listed. But being that my photos are not 3 by 4, I just decided to kind of wing it. So here you'll just see me pull out those photos. I've already matted all my photos on white daisy cardstock. And then I'm just going to mat those on these 2 pieces of cardstock, kind of still playing with the sketch. Now I did cut apart that floral piece just to kind of make it elongated across the 12 by 12. And then here's where I decide I'm going to have to change the SketchUp and stack those 2 larger photos on top of each other. And then I'll have that smaller photo of my MeMe down to the side. So this paper collection also came with a bunch of chipboard shapes. So I'm just going to be punching those out and trying to decide what I'm going to use. So of course you can tell by that photo of my MeMe's garden. She even went as far as to write it on the back of the photo, New Garden 1989, that she loved flowers. She truly had a green thumb. I did not inherit that from her at all, but I just felt that these pattern papers were perfect for this layout because there's a lot of florals, there's a lot of rich colors. She always wore kind of pastel. You can see in that photo of her, she's got some pastel pinks and blues, and it just really matched this paper perfectly. Now these chipboard shapes have little tabs on them where they were connected to the carrier sheet. So I just trim those off, and then I'm going to start gluing down these pieces on my layout. Now usually this is where I pull out my Versamat and my T-ruler, but I just decided I am just going to go with it. They're far enough apart that if they are slightly crooked, it will be okay. So on that gray piece of cardstock, I did ink distress the edges so the white core would not show through, and then I'm going to glue that down and then go ahead and glue down these photos. Now, these photos are the original photos, and so, it's that thick paper. They were kind of curled. So I just made sure that I really added a lot of adhesive to them just to make sure that they stay put. So this picture of my MeMe I have matted on that pink cardstock. I'm going to ink distress that edge that I cut off and then start laying down all the floral pieces. Those glasses I just love because she wore glasses for forever. In fact, probably about 6 weeks before she passed away, she had cataract surgery. And so she no longer had to wear glasses. And I remember walking into her house the first time after her surgery and seeing her, and she just didn't look like my MeMe. She just looked totally different without her glasses. So I love to have those glasses on this layout. And of course, I'm loving these large florals. I am going to have 2 groupings and then add another grouping here in just a second. So with the sketch, there is that little kind of accent piece up at the top right. So I've chosen just a label. I'm not sure if I'm going to write something on it yet or if it's just going to kind of be an accent piece. And then I'm also these chipboard pieces, I'm going to be attaching some of them with 3D foam tape and then the other just with glue dots, just to make sure they stick really well to the paper and then to those old photos. So like I mentioned before, I like just using the old photos on my layouts, mainly because if I make copies of them, I'm still going to have those old photos around. I know that, some people don't like doing that. Some people like making the copies, but I just don't see why I should just have another photo just in a loose envelope, or I've got a cheese box that I keep all the photos in. So I'd like to know what you do. Do you use the actual old photo, or do you go have them reproduced? And why? I mean, I haven't heard any reasoning between having them reproduced other than, I do have some old photos that I really feel bad about um, using, mainly if I crop them. But you notice that I did not crop these photos, and I tend to not crop the really old ones. I keep them intact, same size and everything. And old photos, they were much smaller than a 4x6. So I am done with my flower groupings, and I've pulled out some blue ribbon from my stash, and I am going to do some thread jumbles behind those flower groupings. One at the bottom here, and then I'm going to do a last one up at the top of that large floral on the left, just so I can have three. Now, if you're a follower of mine, you know that I love those thread jumbles. I got the idea from Missy Whidden. I have been following her for forever, even before I think I even had a YouTube channel. And I just love those elements, especially little dainty layouts like this with those flowers. Those thread jumbles just add the perfect little touch. So I am pretty much done with thread jumbles, and then I am going to pull out what I'm going to use for my title. Now I have some alphabet stickers that I believe I showed you a couple of videos ago. I showed you my stash, and it is vast. So I've pulled out these stickers. They've almost got a wood veneer kind of finish to them. And so I'm going to spell MeMe. That's what we called her. I'm going to put that up at the top, and I'm loving how that looks. I think the wood veneer goes perfect with this layout. And then I am going to add just a small grouping of flowers up by that title, just to kind of have that triangle of flowers. So I am going to add another chipboard piece. It's a triangle, and I'm going to add it up at the top. And then I'm going to pull out some bluebell pearls. Now, bluebell is the color of the month, or the color of the year for Close to My Heart, and I think it just goes perfect with the blues that are in this paper packet. So I'm just going to add these little pearls come in three sizes, a large, a medium, and a small, and I'm just going to kind of work in triangles. I'm adding them around the flower groupings, and then I am going to add them up toward the top, that little element of the layout, and then around the glasses at the bottom. So this paper collection, if you use Close to My Heart stuff, or if you've been around for a long time, was called Ariana. It definitely was a favorite of mine way back when, and I believe at the time it came out, we didn't even have a little girl. We only had boys. But I fell in love with the colors of this paper. It had a real pretty blue and white striped. It was just one of my favorites. I still have a lot, and I'm so glad that I was finally able to use it, especially on these photos of my Mimi on her birthday, what would have been her 102nd birthday. So again, I am playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. I'll leave links to all the other girls who are playing along down below. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. If you liked what you saw, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Thanks. I will catch you on the next video.